A little, because our pictures are blocking.
Sorry, your pictures are blocking.
The bottom of the screen.
I've got the toolbar, but I don't have the.
Okay, so for those of you who don't have access to the breakout room function, one of the things that we can do to help sort of quickly sort you into your breakout room is to ask you to change your Zoom name. And so what you could do is, if you want to right click on your picture, on your image, or left click on the image in the corner, you'll see 3 little dots. You'll want to left click on that. It'll say select to rename, and then you can type in the breakout room name that you're interested in. So if it's renewable energy, vehicles, flooding, waste, and outreach. I think I saw someone ask whether or not we have a building room. That will be in the next section as far as energy efficiency is concerned and changing codes and ordinances.
Great, thank you.
I don't have 3 dots on my photo.
I don't either.
Hi, Carol. You're muted. There you go.
I always feel like the control should be on my picture and not down there. I have to break myself of that habit.
I don't know what's happening, if there's just no one that wants to talk about waste or if people are lost in space.
I think they might be lost because there were a lot of people apparently that signed up for it.
Oh, here comes someone. Hello.
Hello.
So I think
Hi there.
Folks
Yes,
signed
we're gonna
in.
wait a minute just to see. I think that there's a lot of people who were in limbo, so we'll give it a second until we get some folks.
Last year, one of my nephews had a Zoom wedding. And they had breakout rooms so the bride and groom could talk to everybody. And it was very interesting.
So it looks like there's someone who had changed their names to vehicles based off of, I think, Brandy's instructions. You're in the waste room. So I don't know if this is where you want to be or not, but you're not in the EV session at the moment.
But we're happy to have you anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that we have, I think that Brandy's assigning them. I think that it's, I think she'll fix it, hopefully. Oh, the person disappeared. Okay.
All right, well, I guess in the interest of time, we'll go ahead and get started. People can join us as they trickle in. Carol, are you going to share the slides with everyone?
I am, and I should be coming up right now.
Okay. So while Carol's pulling that up, I'm Michelle Kokolas. I'm a program manager at the Environmental Finance Center, and I'm going to be facilitating this breakout session this evening. Carol is also here she works for the county in the Department of the Environment. She's my co-facilitator. She will be here to answer any technical questions that you have, to listen and to learn to what your concerns are. Who else do we have from the county? So we have Commissioner with us. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yep, Tom Dernoga, County Council and representative for the council on the Climate Action Commission.
And where did Andrea go? Are you still here?
She's listed as waste.
I am still here. I am still here, but interested in waste. But yeah, I already introduced myself, so
Right.
I'm here to listen.
Okay, so if you stay with us, great, we're happy to have you, but if you're gonna bop around from room to room, I understand that as well. And so as Brandy had said, this session is really to talk about the curbside waste project in the county and the impacts that that can have. We'll touch on some other things as well. As we go through this is a fairly small group. If it stays small, I'm gonna say that when it comes time to talk, if you're comfortable talking, feel free to unmute yourself and speak. If the group gets a little bit larger, or if you're not comfortable doing that, please feel free to use the chat as well. We will be we'll be monitoring the chat as we go forward. All right, so Carol, go ahead to the next slide, please.
Yes, and she clicks it and doesn't move. It does not.
Sometimes there's a little lag, but
Yep, I clicked too far.
all right. Okay, so just a high level overview, I want to talk about the benefits of increasing organic waste composting. There are economic benefits, human health benefits, and environmental benefits that are all important. Composting reduces the cost of waste disposal in the government because the tipping fees go down because there's not as much waste that is being produced. That can also use to result in a profitable byproduct that can be resold for gardening. And those are the economic benefits. Increasing composting benefits human health. There's a positive impact on the air quality near the landfill because we're decreasing the number of trucks that are coming in and out and producing exhaust. We see reduced rates in respiratory incidents or asthma where you have higher composting rates because of the air quality benefits. And then environmentally speaking, we're reducing greenhouse gas emissions by decreasing the trucking. That also reduces the smog and particulate air pollution. Compost in and of itself is used to amend the soil, which increases water retention, reduces runoff, can also reduce your need for fertilizers in your lawn because you're putting those essential nutrients back into the ground through the compost. And it also sequesters carbon in the soil when you use it to amend your garden and your lawn. Next slide.
I'm giving it a moment before I jump. Okay, I don't know why we're having.
There we go. So to give you just a quick overview or snapshot of the efforts in the county, from 2017 to 2019, approximately 200 households participated in a pilot curbside scraps collection program. That pilot project eliminated over 100,000 pounds of food scraps from the landfill. The county also partners with or contracts with the Maryland Environmental Services to operate an organics composting facility in Upper Marlboro. At that facility, yard waste, so things like your grass clippings and leaves and brush, and also your Christmas trees are collected from over close to 175,000 households in the county. And that is then turned into leaf grow, which is a type of compost material. And 6 municipalities in the county are leading organic waste composting programs within their municipalities. These include backyard composting, curbside pickup, as well as education and outreach about composting. And those are just, a high level snapshot of things that are already happening in the county. Next slide. So the action that is put forth related to composting, and now my slides are messed up. The commission has been working over the past 6 months to listen and learn from technical experts, county residents, engaged stakeholders about this issue. And one action that has been proposed for enhancing and expanding the county's organic waste composting program. That action recommends enhancing reduction and diversion efforts, prioritizing the strategic expansion of the food scraps program so that more households can participate, and high use and waste generating businesses have access to composting as well. And then it also includes support for a plastic bag ban, as well as supporting the bottle deposit efforts that have been talked about for so long now. Next slide. All right, so this is where you all start to chime in on this conversation. I've given you a high level overview. Now we want you to think about these things. So I want everyone to take a minute, think about what a program for the county that focuses on enhancing and expanding organic waste composting could look like. Think about who would be involved in this effort. What are they doing? When is it happening? What support is being offered? What would be helpful to you and your neighbors in terms of this process? And what does success look like for you? So I want you to think about those things for a minute. Carol, if you want to go to the next slide. So as you start to think about those questions and what this program in your mind could look like, I want you to either share your thoughts in the chat, or if you are comfortable taking yourself off of mute to speak, we can do that. I want you to tell us what you envision. So what would this program look like for you? What would get you excited about it? What if you don't already compost, what could get you to compost? How would we engage the residents? All of those sorts of things. And as you type your answers into the chat box or raise your hand to speak, take yourself off mute, Carol's going to be taking notes directly in the slide that you're seeing. So your thoughts will be going automatically up so everyone can see them, and we're sure that we get a good record of them.
Shall we start speaking?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Ann Riley and I live in Riderwood, which is a retirement community on the edge of the county. And I'd like apartments to be considered in all of this. I know in Montgomery County, they gave some sort of a grant to the Blair Apartments, and they have quite a bit of composting going from individuals putting their food waste each day in a place where it can be emptied and then processed accordingly. I'd like to see something like that in Prince George's County for apartments, because we never think of them.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Yajurel, and I'm a high school teacher here in the county, and I also live in the county. And I would like to see it be incorporated into the science curriculums in all grade levels.
I actually agree with that. I'm currently a student PG County, and composting isn't really taught as highly as things such as recycling. So I didn't know much about composting, but why I the only reason why I'm even aware of composting isn't because of the education system. It's more because of my parents who actually have a garden. So the only reason why I know about composting is because of personal experience and not from the community.
And just to add one more thing, would it be possible to get those little green totes that we just received for composting? Could they be available at schools? We have a lot of green clubs, and we wouldn't mind, the food that's wasted every day to compost that, or, at least put it in the bins that someone can pick up.
To add to that question, just because I'm curious and I don't know the answer, Carol, is the county considering including schools in the composting program? Would they be considered under the high use or high waste generating folks?
I'm not sure at what point in the rollout schools would fit, but I do know that one of the things that we do is work very closely with the Green School program and with the Schmidt Center, and also with the Master Gardeners program. And certainly we've individually gone to schools to help them set up composting there. And we're looking at ways we could grow that program, where we're also helping in an integrated fashion instead of hit or miss, setting up school gardens for vegetables and pollinators, inside gardens, and composting. We don't have that stood up yet. But one way or another, I think it's an excellent point, and it's something that we're going to want to figure out how to do. We'll involve all those players, and if there's anybody else that we should be involving, please say something or put it in the chat.
Who else has thoughts on what this program should look like? David?
Yeah, I live in the northern part of the county and been working with a group of composting advocates for some time now. And one of the things that I would like to see is some way to demonstrate to other parts of the county what composting could be at different levels, establishing a composting demonstration project somewhere in the northern part of the county. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a comment on this. The Food Equity Council for Prince George's County recently hired a food waste coordinator position, and I'm going to put into the chat a little bit more information about it. But it's kind of the classic thing we learned back in school: reduce first, reuse, and then recycle. And so, similar to what others have said, we're kind of starting here already at the recycling stage, and it would be great to look at what are some, in kitchen measures that we can implement to ensure that there's less food waste in institutional settings. And then before that food is wasted, can it be rescued? Can it be diverted to people who are in need? So we have this program that's fairly new for the Food Equity Council, and it'd be great to see the Climate Action Plan looking at ways that we can make this program permanent in the county, expand it, improve it, since that's something we already have going.
Excellent. Barbara, I see you had raised your hand. Did you have something you wanted to add? Maybe we lost Barbara. All right, anyone else have thoughts about what this program should look like? Oh, now I see hands again. Okay, Barbara, back to you. Benjamin?
I just wanted to repeat what Chloe said, that with the reduce and reuse, reducing and recovery of food to reduce the waste to start with, right before we get into the composting. So
Right.
I don't see that written there. That's why I'm bringing it up again.
There you go. Thank you. Is it Jana?
Jana, it's okay.
Sorry.
I just wanted you to sort of amend that composting at schools and add in curbside. And so to take it away rather than relying on us to be able to have school gardens at every school, but taking it away and taking it to the compost facility. So, thank you.
Good point. James.
So just to play off the schools as well, and just a quick shout out to some of my colleagues on here, Jana and Donald. So yeah, a supported program at the schools. So not only curbside, but having that support from the county. And then just to piggyback off what somebody else said is, you know, encouraging food sharing. So, you know, if we've got food at the schools, can it be diverted before it's composted? So we're reducing hunger.
Good point. Let's go to Amy and then we will go to Martha.
Okay, this is Amy. I live in a senior community and we have a waste hauler contract, I guess. So I don't know what's the interface between that and things like composting. Is that something that's part of our contract? How does the county handle large congregate facilities? Because we don't have individual contracts as residents here.
Right.
And we generate a lot of waste.
As I understand it, and let me be completely honest here, I am not with the Resource Recovery Division. But as I understand it, there is a mix. There are county contractors for the county that do the regular pickups, and then there are some organizations and some municipalities and others that do have direct contracts themselves. I believe the way that the composting is being rolled out is in a sense kind of piggybacking on the yard waste pickup. It's the same day as yard waste. So one of the questions would be if you're already getting yard waste pickup as opposed to your actual trash. But it's an important question, and we're certainly going to come back with a more definitive answer on that. Talk to my colleagues in Resource Recovery. And while I'm talking, I just wanted to say the comment I thought from Berwyn Heights from Amanda was really excellent, that we do have to meet people where they are. There are some people that will never want a backyard compost. Some people have been doing it forever, and you know, you want to come and take my meat now, that's great. And everybody in between. So I think that's an important thing to remember, and I'm going to put it up here and stop talking so I can type it.
Martha.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to agree with a lot of what's been said already. What I'm really yearning for here is actually a timetable. I'd like to see a timetable over the next 5 years, a timetable for making curbside food scrap collection available to everyone served by county services. If we do this 3,000 households a year and there are 160,000, it'll take decades. So a commitment by a certain date to have, for everyone to have access to curbside. Also, a timetable for access to rural areas, drop off for food waste, compost for food waste. Access, a time on the timetable, access of multifamily residential to food waste composting pickup. And also on the timetable, commitment to developing more geographically distributed, smaller composting sites in the county. And finally, to cap it all, a commitment to ban organic waste from the landfill by 2030. That's what I'd like to see on composting. And of course, when you have, the commercial entities have to come along because it will be banned in the landfill. So they're going to have to do this. They'll have their own incentives to do it, to increase organic composting. But, you know, composting is not, we also need stricter methane regulations at the landfill, and Maryland Department of Environment is in the process of developing stricter standards. Brown Station Road landfill is the largest methane emitter of all the landfills in the state, partly because it's a large landfill. And it's also, you know, of course, it has a lot of food waste in it that's creating the methane. But I really like to see a timetable, a commitment to a timetable to do this.
Okay, thank you. I think we have time for one more thought before we move on to your next set of thoughts. So if you, I'm gonna call on Beth because your hand has been up for a while, and then other people, if you still have thoughts on this, please put them in the chat because those things will be addressed. So Beth.
Hi, I just wanted to give another plug for the schools, and thanks to Chloe for that guidance document from DCPS, because I used to manage the recycling program for DCPS, and we had an opt-in composting program that we sent our waste to Prince George's County, and I did all of my schooling in Prince George's County Public Schools. There's no reason why, if DC Public Schools could do it, that Prince George's County Public Schools can't do it. And I'd be really happy to talk to anybody about how we can help make that happen. So thanks.
All right, thank you. Great thoughts from everyone. Carol, if you can go to the next slide. The next thing that I want you all to think about, and I'm sure this group has a lot of thoughts on these, what are the challenges associated with beefing up this plan, and also what are the opportunities for it? So what are things that people are worried about? You know, maybe it's the smell and attracting critters, or how it looks. Opportunities could be new workforce development opportunities. If you have large scale composting, you're going to need to hire people to maintain it. So those sorts of things, challenges and opportunities related to expanding this program. All right, I'm not sure if these are new hands or old hands, so I'm just going to start over again. Beth, did you just raise your hand again? No. Amy?
No, I didn't raise my hand again. Sorry, I'll take it down.
That's okay.
I can remember.
Ren, is that a new hand or old hand?
Oh, yes, it's new.
Okay.
I think the biggest challenge will probably be motivating people to participate, because although it is good for the environment, composting will be like, you will actually need people to remember to compost and like not throw food scraps and everything along with the other trash or like recyclables. So I feel like motivating people would probably be one of the bigger challenges.
Yes.
Thank you. Other thoughts on challenges and opportunities? I mean, I think one of the greatest opportunities, to go back to the original comment on the last slide, is you have a great educational opportunity here, right? Not only for schools, but also for residents like yourselves. So I think that there's a lot of educational opportunity associated with this program.
I just wanted to add again that this is a great opportunity for service learning hours. Every student is required to do a certain amount of hours before they graduate. It's also an opportunity for them to have a summer job and to do internships.
And as a former science teacher, I will add a great science fair project to the list. What about challenges? What do you see as challenges with this?
I would say communication, TV, radio, advertisements, making sure that we're hitting different demographics of students, making something that we do stuff geared towards the older people and the youth, make sure it's engaging.
Mm-hmm. So making sure that the message is hitting all of the audiences across the board in the appropriate way. Other thoughts?
And also in the chat, I see that in terms of challenge, there's just the geography, the point of how to include more far-flung communities.
Also in the chat, Cheryl had put, this is an opportunity to reduce the use of chemical fertilizers, which is very true and a great point.
I love that one.
Scrolling through the chat to see what other folks have said. A general comment about people needing to be educated in their food purchasing so that they're not over purchasing and creating needless waste. Pat said the need for education and encouragement from the county council so municipalities realize they must take action. There's reticence and lack of action at this point in time. And a lack of awareness of the problem. Only recently has food waste become an important topic. And then Amanda just added, I would also identify the municipal/county relationship as a challenge. Some municipalities take responsibility for waste collection and others are served by county DPW. So collaborating so all have access is important, which is also a great point. All right, any other thoughts on challenges and opportunities? Donna.
I was going to say it's a combination opportunity challenge. So the opportunity is that we have the ability to teach everybody in Prince George's County from our very youngest children all at once. And we're, so in that educational opportunity, I agree completely with all of that. But the challenge is going to be that if we teach it without the action, it doesn't have the same meaning. So we have to be doing them at once. They're like recycling worked really well. Everybody heard about that because at the same time we were rolling out actual recycling at the schools. So, so I think it's that balance of, and it goes back to the idea of a timeline of, when does this all happen? That's where the challenge comes in.
Okay. So we're going to go to Thomas and then to Amy, and then we're going to move on to the next set of questions for you. So Commissioner, what did you want to add?
I'm supposed to not say much, so I've been quiet, but I wanted to bring a couple of reality checks on the challenges side. For one, Ms. Solner-Webb I think and Martha hit the nail on the head. The county was supposed to do a lot more quickly, and it hasn't. I guess that now falls to Andrea to pick up the ball and run with it. But the rollout's been very slow. But the challenge is funding on waste, the waste program in general. and people have to be willing to see their tax bill go up. That's not on your tax bill, you get the charge for the waste hauling, and that has not gone up in years. And that's something that people need to be aware of. You can't do what people want without more revenue. And the other thing is all the agencies are limited in funding for education in terms of radio, TV commercials, print, postcards, et cetera. So that's a challenge. I mean, education is key, but when you have 300,000 or 400,000 households across the county, it's $500,000 or more to mail the county. I mean, it's very expensive. So there are fiscal challenges, and I think there's a need for prioritization. So people need to just take that into account, and the solutions that people are suggesting need to be balanced against what's reasonable fiscally. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but just got to put the reality check
Money
out
is
there.
always the bottom line, right?
But it's a plan, and you put everything in the plan that you want.
Right. Amy.
Is the composting facility that's currently in operation, do they offer ripe compost for sale to the residents or free pickup?
I don't know about free pickup, but there is a product that is created from the food waste, and it's called Leaf Grow Gold. And that is available for purchase.
Good. Terrific.
All right.
And I would just mention also that it has a much higher, it's a higher nutrient level than regular leaf grow. So it's especially good for like your veggies and stuff.
Okay, Carol, can we go to the next slide, please? I feel like we've touched on some of these things already, but within this program and the expansion of it, who benefits from it? Who is burdened or left out from what we've been talking about? And how do we ensure equitable outcomes for this program? Again, keeping in mind that an important part of the county's climate action plan is that it is implemented in an equitable fashion, so that the county is not negatively impacting already underserved and overburdened communities. And how do we make sure that that is happening? So if everything goes well, who benefits, who might be left out, and how can we ensure that it's an equitable program?
One quick thing, have you all surveyed the residents in all in all zip codes to find out what would be easiest for them?
Carol, do you know the answer to that question? Have residents been surveyed?
I do not believe that there has been a survey. Surveying is also something that does require a pretty hefty price tag.
And just so those of you who might not have seen it pop up, we only have about 3 minutes left. So speak freely. Anyone?
I'm just thinking about location. Oh, sorry, did I interrupt
No,
somebody?
go ahead. No, absolutely, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking about location sort of on both sides is so important for equity, right? Because so often we know around environmental issues, things that could be harmful or inconvenient or problematic, those get put in communities of color, marginalized communities, and then whatever the positive thing you want is the opposite, right? So in this case, it would be, I guess, the compost itself is readily accessible to the wealthier communities, for example. So I think some way that maybe we divide up the composting sites in such a way that they're evenly distributed, and then make sure that the actual finished compost can go to everybody.
I think that's a really important point.
And it goes back to surveying the residents because there might be certain demographics or certain areas within the county where they may not, have access to vehicles. So having the pickup locations, would help to facilitate all of that.
Mhm. Based on previous comments, it also seems that someone that may be left out at this point in time are people who live in apartment complexes, right? It sounds like there's some confusion over how composting is handled at those.
This is such a simple thing, but I guess like a range of container sizes. The folks I know who have composting options for them in apartments, it's because they were provided with sort of smaller size things that they could keep in their apartment and then easily take outside without having some huge cumbersome thing. So it's a small thing, but that might take care of a little bit of that problem.
Well, I know Riderwood has Bates take away the stuff that the kitchen, when they're cutting up and preparing the meals, but all the stuff, all the garbage after the meals goes into the trash. And we, in our individual apartments, I have a little composting machine that I do for people's apartments myself, but we would like to have some place to take our apartment waste for food. So.
All right. Carol, can you go to the next slide quickly? I do want to see if there's any thoughts on this before Brandy whisks us all away. Oh, she's whisking us away in 2 minutes. So the last question was, what does success in the county look like in the next 3 to 5 years? And there's already been
earlier.
A timeline is what I was going to say. There's been a lot of conversation about the timeline. So clearly that is something that would indicate success.
And also, are there any case studies of other, areas that have done a program like this? What were their successes? What were their challenges?
Other thoughts on what successes would look like in the next 3 to 5 years? You have 60 seconds for your final thoughts.
I don't have numbers at the top of my head, but a dramatic shift in what proportion of our waste is going to landfill, I think would be a good metric.
And definitely something that is measurable. So if we knew the number, like if I saw on TV that, 15% of the trash is being, composted, that would, maybe engage people more.
So
I think it's 23% in the county.
How about a plastic bag ban
Yes.
Absolutely.
and a bottle ban?
Double yes.
You're going straight for the throat there, not a bottle bill, a bottle ban. I like it.
All right, so hopefully we have most of you in the room now. Awesome, awesome.